Today, I want to take a closer look at the second largest company in the world. Yep, that is Nvidia. Today, Nvidia closed at above $3 trillion for the first time and overtakes Apple as the second largest company. Obviously, anything can happen when this video goes live or when you're watching this video. But at one point, Nvidia was the second largest. How long will it take for this company to be number one? Let me know in the comments below. So on today's episode, obviously, we're going to do a nice daily deep dive on Nvidia. What are some recent news articles or some recent topics that have come out for Nvidia? There was a conference, an analyst conference today, and we did get some pretty interesting updates there that I want to share. I also just want to take a closer look at what are my thoughts on Nvidia's stock price action right before this 10-to-1 split? We're going to take a closer look at companies like Supermicro and some other AI giants today. So let's get started.
I want to thank The Motley Fool for sponsoring this video, and check out fool.com/Jose for the 10 best stocks to buy now. With that link, you get a promotional offer for the subscription service. Now, let's continue with today's episode.
First, some bullish news. We did see an analyst, Itua BPA Securities, never heard of them, but they adjusted their price target on Nvidia to $1,300 from $1,000, and they keep an outperform rating. You guys know me, I could care less about what analysts are doing, but I know some of you guys enjoy kind of seeing the updates of how we're seeing analysts continue to increase their price target. Now, some other things that we are seeing are reports after the market closed today that various Nvidia shareholders or insiders sold shares of Nvidia. We see the shareholder that sold about 17 million, another one that sold 17 million, and another one that sold nearly about 10 million. If you take a closer look at the amount of shares that they sold compared to the amount of shares that they own, for example, this one is Mark A. Stevens, a director who sold about 8,900 shares on June 3rd of 2024 for about that $10 million, and he still controls over 4 million shares, with 1.3 million shares held directly and the other 2.7 controlled indirectly. So overall, we can see from all these insiders that are selling, it's not like they're selling a big position. It's just very small amount, but sometimes we like to see this as a bear thesis. So I just wanted to kind of bring that up to you, the investors. Now, I do want to say maybe there might be something there in forms of what we can learn. Right now, in all honesty, if we take a closer look at valuations, and I don't know if I'm going to get some hate for this, but every time I look at a company, I tend to look at it as where is my risk to reward ratio. And obviously, the AI market is big. I personally believe that the AI space is the future. But right now, we can look at Nvidia's PE ratio forward, which is the next 9 months, has jumped up to 45. The PE ratio forward 1 year is jumped up to 34.7. So I'm going to get some hate for this, but for me right now, it's not the time for... If I was to buy Nvidia, this would not be the time, right? I'm not saying I'm going to go short Nvidia, but I am not going to be buying Nvidia anytime soon. I believe when this forward 1 year, the PE ratio is below 30, that's where I personally would find it a little bit more attractable for at least some dollar cost averaging. But in my opinion, and I could be completely wrong, right? 100% could be completely wrong, but I believe the risk to reward ratio is not on my favor right now. Obviously, everybody has their own risk to reward tolerance, and maybe for you, your tolerance is still okay with the forward PE ratio of this. I have been in the semiconductor game for a while, for a long time, and I do believe that the semiconductor market, no matter how amazing it is, no matter how strong it is, it tends to give us buying opportunities. And I think right now for Nvidia, if I really want to increase my positions, it's already my number one position. This is the time where I'm just going to be patient and wait out for that great buying opportunity that I believe can come to those that are patient. But the real question is when, and will one be able to wait out that that kind of opportunity? Again, I'm not here telling anybody to sell shares, but if you were to tell me, hey, Jose, you know what? Today I sold 2% of my Nvidia position just to rake up some gains, just to know, hey, look, I still kept some money and using it for elsewhere. I wouldn't think it was a bad move, right? I personally wouldn't sell 100%. Take it as you see it, but I just wanted to share my thoughts because I don't feel comfortable coming into a video right now and saying, hey, right now is the time to load up the truck, because I personally wouldn't do it. So I just wanted to express my viewpoint. Again, my viewpoint could be wrong, not advice, but just wanted to share my overall thoughts.
Before we go any further, we are now on the road to 50,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Thank you all for the crazy support. So if you haven't and are enjoying the content, make sure to hit the thumbs up and the subscribe button. Finally, if you want to support the channel a little bit more, make sure to check out my special offer at fool.com/Jose. Now back to today's episode.
Now that we have that out the way, I want to talk about a global technology conference that NVIDIA was at today. And the vice president of Accelerated Computing Business Unit was the one answering a lot of questions here. Obviously, this is somebody who knows the GPU market in and out in the data center space. And this is where the market is right now. So there were a lot of great questions. So one of the great questions here was the analyst was, hey, look, you have kind of a 1-year cadence on your products right now. Isn't this a bad thing? Aren't people going to wait up for the next product? And Ian, the vice president, mentions that, hey, look, the great thing about NVIDIA is not only do we release new products like the upcoming Blackwell, like the upcoming Rubin, but we also improve our old products. They have continued to improve their Ampere generation, which is the one before Hopper, and they've improved the performance of Hopper GPUs by about 3 times since they first released it. So this kind of gives the overall customers some form of confidence that, hey, look, I'm going to buy some product now. It might not be the best product that's going to be here in the next 2 years, but I know that NVIDIA is going to continue to invest in these products and make it even better over time. The other thing that they mention is they don't believe they're going to eat up their own market because there are still a lot of companies that are enjoying 8100s. That is the Ampere generation. There's still companies that are looking forward to the H100s, right? And others who have the H100 are looking forward to the Blackwell. So there might be some companies out there that need the best generations, like your cloud server providers. So those are the ones that are going to keep upgrading here and there. But then there are the other ones that have the Ampere and don't mind upgrading to the H100. So there's plenty and plenty of market for everybody. The other thing that this analyst mentions is that right now, it's not just, it's there's so much data center space that needs to be upgraded that right now they're not in the time where you have to think, hey, look, people are buying H100s and when they buy the Blackwell, the H100 gets decommissioned. No, there's still plenty of customers out there using the Volta system. Most probably don't know what the Volta architecture is. This is the one before Ampere. Most have heard of just the Hopper when NVIDIA became popular, but a lot of data centers are still running on Volta systems. So if, for example, you buy the Blackwell and you can't create a new data center, what's going to happen is like, hey, look, we're going to move those H100s where the Volta system is, and we're going to bring the Blackwell where the H100s are at. So right now, they're seeing a mixture of so many things. Of one, companies creating and building up new data centers, and that's where the best solutions are going. But there also are plenty and plenty of retired or unaccelerated solutions, or solutions with very, very old accelerated computing solutions that can be upgraded. So there's no way that right now in the market, NVIDIA is going to be able to kind of create be eating its own market on its own, right? So there's plenty and plenty opportunities here. The second question that I found pretty interesting here was the analyst was kind of talking about NVIDIA's Infinite Band solution and NVIDIA's Spectrum X solution. So Infinite Band, for those that are not familiar, is NVIDIA's networking solution that is meant for the AI market. I'm actually going to do a video on my other channel later this week, kind of explaining Infinite Band a little bit more, but it has been a networking solution that NVIDIA had to create to really allow these huge GPU clusters. But right now, NVIDIA has created Spectrum X, which is kind of bringing Ethernet the Ethernet network into this AI supercluster as well. So right now, NVIDIA mentions that, hey, look, right now they're seeing a mix of both the Ethernet Spectrum X and their infinite band solution, which is where most of these 24,000 GPU clusters have been built. Ian also mentioned that right now there is actually a 100,000 GPU training project that is being put together right now, which will be on the Spectrum X. So we can continue to hear more about these 100,000 GPU products. Obviously, I believe this is the same one being talked about over and over, but in my mind, it's still crazy that there's 100,000 GPU data center being built. So it's not that crazy for NVIDIA to have said that maybe in the upcoming years, we're going to get 1 million GPU cluster. Now, I want to take a closer look at Supermicro. So Supermicro has definitely seen quite a ride. The stock was up roughly 4%. Again, probably excited with the overall stock market. The CEO was at a Computex keynote last night, and they did share a lot of new products or solutions with the Blackwell. For example, they introduced a ready-to-deploy liquid-cooled AI data center using the Blackwell architecture. And the CEO mentions that, hey, look, right now they already have plenty of offerings to take advantage of this kind of generative AI market. For example, they have a liquid cool Supermicro H100 and H200 supercluster, which comes with 256 GPUs, or even one with 256 Grace Hopper super chips. So right now we can see how Supermicro is definitely a top player here in the AI space. I've talked about Supermicro in the past. This is one that obviously has a lot of competition, which companies like HPE, which companies like Dell, really fighting for margins and kind of like this pricing war into data center server space. Supermicro also talked a little bit more about how on June 2nd, I thought this was pretty cool. Supermicro is going to be building super clusters that are going to go in large scale AI data centers in Japan. I think that's actually very, very bullish, as obviously this company continues to grow its manufacturing footprint, and they're growing their customers here. So I think that was actually a pretty bullish news for Supermicro investors. Outside, we have seen other companies kind of release new products during Computex. One of those companies was Intel, and Supermicro just came out on June 3rd and said, hey, look, we have kind of liquid cooling processing and kind of AI server solutions using Intel's new Xeon 6 processors. So again, Supermicro definitely has huge growth opportunity. Not one that I personally would buy though. The final thing I want to take a closer look at today is Oracle. So Oracle is expected to report earnings on June 11th. So Tuesday of next week, in about 6 days. Definitely want to keep an eye out. I believe Oracle is a player that can see a nice amount of growth thanks to AI solutions, and I think a lot of people are sleeping on it. So definitely take a closer look at my previous, I think on January 1st or 2nd of 2024, I took a closer look at my top 3 stocks for the year. I only talked about 3 stocks, and those were Oracle, CrowdStrike, and Nvidia. I believe Oracle can be a big winner here in the AI space, and we're gonna have to wait for earnings that are coming out next week. But I just wanted to kind of give that out just in case anybody was looking at something that they want to do some more research on. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Take care, have a good day, and see you next time.